Hello everyone, welcome to tips and tricks session from Xerxez solution. In our last two sessions we have discussed about how to configure the basic the environment which is required to design a machine learning project, where we also focused is rather than deploying everything on cloud native. So totally we learned how to migrate everything from cloud native to cloud workload, and all the development and deployment process of microservices we are going to do it in within the cloud itself, where we have learned how to deploy the VS code in the EC2 machine. Apart from that, we also learn how to integrate, connect S3 bucket, or let's say the RDS, the database systems to EC2 machine. Now it's time to work on the templates. Generally, we follow data science template called the cookie cutter, and in this session we are going to discuss about how to set up the cookie cutter template. Apart from that, we will see how to set up the Jupyter lab also, which is required to perform explanatory data analysis of our data. So without further ado, let's begin with the sessions. Let me log into my AWS account, and you know this very well, how to create an environment. After creating an environment, how to set up a virtual environment. So this much we have completed in the previous session. Today's session, our agenda will be to install the cookie cutter and Jupyter Notebook. Okay, pretty straightforward. As far as cookie cutter data science template is concerned, it is help us to maintain the quality of the whole process of designing and deploying the machine learning the products, or you take any microservice based product. A logical, reasonable, standardized but flexible project structure for doing and sharing data science work as far as cookie cutter is concerned. First, obviously, okay, we need to install cookie cutter, the dependency first. How we can install this one? The process will remain same. Pip install cookie cutter. Okay, cookie cutter. Perfect. So I think in my system it is already installed, but this is the process of installing the cookie cutter. Just run the command called pip install cookie cutter. It will help you to install the whole the cookie cutter template. Once after successful completion of installing the cookie cutter, next is to run the template link. Okay, from where you will get this one? Just go to google.com and type cookie cutter template, cookie cutter data science template. Hit on the enter button, and there is a GitHub link here. So from here you can copy that particular link. The complete documentation is also available related to the cookie cutter. You can go through and explore how exactly the cookie cutter works. Next, once after successful installation of the cookie cutter dependency, next you need to run this the link where the whole the cookie cutter template will have the different folders and the files which are required during the development phase. I have already copied. Now let's try to paste this one. Okay, and run it. Make sure that you first install cookie cutter, okay, dependency, then only you will be able to run this template. And then it is asking whether you want to proceed. Yes, I want to proceed. Yes. Okay, hit on Y. Then it will ask for the project name. Let's try to give the project name be insurance. Okay, prediction of insurance prices with the specific age. We are going to work on those model. Repo name same I'll give. Okay, same repo name I'll try to give insurance. Author name, let's say Xerxez solution. If you have not subscribed our channel, please subscribe our channel and hit the notification bell for the upcoming videos. Okay, short description, give some short description. Let's say software development trainings and R&D, research, and we do conduct research in related to research and development in related to AI. Okay, development. Cool. Next, it will ask for license. I'll go with MIT license. Regarding about S3 bucket, already we have connected. I'll keep it as optional later on using the Boto 3, or let's say once we install the Jupyter Notebook. So from there it is possible to fetch it. Okay, next, AWS profile. I don't want to share any secret key or let's say the access key, so I'll go with the default one. Python 3 I will use. Perfect. Now the cookie cutter template is successfully installed. Now if I type ls, you can see before I had only one folder called new. Now I have one more folder called the insurance, okay, which is nothing but my complete the cookie cutter template. Let me log in. Okay, let me enter into this folder. We can see, okay, so there are different types of files are available which are badly required during the development time. Now how to activate this one? Same, you can run code dot, it will open the new windows, VS Windows, where you can see all the files and the folders which is offered, provided by the cookie cutter template. Next, here have a look on the left corner. We have the data where you can store the data, okay, and different categories of the data you can store here. Documents, you can maintain the documents here, so supporting all the files are available in the documents. We have notepad, okay, notebook, where you can write your Python code and perform different stages of the machine learning. But as far as notebook is concerned, since we are running the VS code in EC2, there's because of the kernel, okay, some errors will come. That's the reason we try to deploy the notebook separately. Okay, so after completion of this, next we have references. Next we have report. These are the folders which are required. Apart from that, reports, figures, okay, matrices, RMSE value, all these things you can store here. We have environment file, okay, get ignore file. So rest of the other file are available. We'll try to explore one by one in the coming sessions. First and foremost, let's try to focus on the requirement.txt file, where all the dependencies we are going to run. Let me delete this. I don't want all this file. Let's try to run freshly whatever the dependencies we required. First, I'll go with the pandas. So pandas required. As far as pandas is concerned, we can use pandas for pandas for it's an Python programming software library written in Python programming language for data manipulations and analysis. Okay, next we required numpy also. This is for data structure we use. numpy required. dvseed for data version control. Most important, ml flow is required. Apart from ml flow, we required one more called matplotlib for the visualization. Let me try to check matplotlib. Okay, how we can install matplotlib? Yeah, matplotlib is pretty straightforward. Just type matplotlib. That's it. Matplotlib, automatically it will install. Next, we required the connector API to connect our cookie cutter. Whatever the data is there, suppose let's say I want to store whatever the user data is there, I want to store in database. So I'm going to use PostgreSQL. For that one, we require an API which will connect our Visual Studio to the database, that is called psycopg2. Okay, psycopg2 is required. Apart from that, if any other requirement based upon the requirements of our let's say requirements of our the code, we will keep on updating our the file. Fair enough. Now you can see right now I'm not in the virtual environment. Okay, so we need to set this virtual environment first. How to set the virtual environment? Let me again go back, because virtual environment is available in new. Okay, ls again, I have cd virtual environment. Okay, next ls again, mlops. Next ls again, bin we have. Okay, next after bin, I think we have all the files here. Let me try to clear this, and source, and after source we require run this activate command. Okay, now I'm in mlops. Let me come to my main directory. Yes, perfect. Right now I'm in the main directory now. Okay, so from here we'll try to run all these dependencies. Let me clear this first. Now to run this or the dependency, run the command called pip install -r for recursive requirement.txt. Give the name of the file. Requirement.txt is not available. Let me check where exactly I am. Yeah, so let me go to that particular folder, insurance. Okay, right now I'm in insurance. Now if I ls, I have the requirement.txt file. Now it's time to run that command, pip install -r requirement.txt. Execute it. Okay, this will take little time. Please have patience. Once after successful completion of this installation, then we can move to the next dependencies. Here we have some problem, psy copg2. Okay, copg2, let's say copg2, let's try to run binary. Okay, binary will support, I feel. Next, run this one again. Okay, we need to run again. So this time what happens when you run, it will skip all the dependencies which are already installed, and it will try to take only the new dependencies which are not yet installed. So in our case, we had some problem while executing the API called psy copg2 binary. Now it will fetch only that and it will try to install. Okay, so it has successfully installed now. Apart from this, next, the first phase, always remember, the first phase of machine learning development is to perform an EDA, explanatory data analysis. Explanatory data analysis will take the lot of time. Now in our scenario, what I have done, I have chosen the simple scenario where data resource is available. So I have kept the data in S3 bucket. Okay, S3 bucket. So I'm going to fetch this data. I'm going to fetch whatever the data I have. I'm going to fetch this one, and I'm going to perform EDA, explanatory data analysis, using Jupyter Notebook. Okay, I'm going to use Jupyter Notebook here. Jupyter Notebook. Okay, but in the real world scenario, what happened? Data will be in different location, you know. Okay, so maybe let's say data in any let's say database, let's say RDS, or let's say big data, let's say Athena. We have Athena or BigQuery. Different sources of data are there. Data keeps on coming, okay, from different sources. So in this cases, generally what we do, we try to, whatever the features we require to design our the machine learning model, so we try to take all those features from different source of the data. Either it could be, let's say, Athena, BigQuery, RDS, or any other sources of data. And after selecting, let's say I have selected one feature from Athena, another feature from RDS, the another feature from, let's say, S3 bucket. Next, we perform join operations here. Okay, after performing the join operation, so we are going to get one, we will finalize one file. Okay, either it could be in JSON file, JSON format, or let's say CSV format. Then we perform EDA and explanatory data analysis on those the particular data. After that, we design the machine learning models. We perform different test technique validations, etc. So after once we satisfy, like there is a possibility of getting the good accuracy, then we proceed that one for the machine learning models. Now as far as my prototype is concerned, I'm going to fetch the data from S3 bucket, and I'm going to perform an EDA using Jupyter Notebook. For this one, we need to install the Jupyter Notebook first. Let's try to do that one, how to install the Jupyter Notebook. As far as the VS Code is concerned, we tried to install the Jupyter Notebook here itself, but the problem is it gives an error message when it comes to the kernel. Okay, so the kernel issues will come. So that's the reason I think it's better to install the Jupyter Notebook separately, where you can access the Jupyter Notebook from your URL itself. Okay, rather than performing in the VS Code. But when you fetch keep the location same. As far as in our case it is insurance. The moment when you start fetching, all the files and the folders also will be available in the Jupyter Notebook. And now how to do this one? Make sure that as far as Jupyter Notebook is concerned, you need to activate the port 8888. Okay, let me this is my instance where my VS Code is running. Go to the security after selecting the instance. So next there is an option here called inbound security groups. Click on security groups and you can see under security group inbound rules. In inbound rules, don't forget you have to activate 8888. This port is required to access our Jupyter Notebook. So once it is done, save it. So after saving that one, next we can we can activate our Jupyter Notebook. How to activate the Jupyter Notebook? First and foremost, we need to install the notebook. Let's try to install the notebook. So as far as installing the notebook is concerned, you can run sudo apt-get apt install, let's say notebook, run it. So now you can see, so it started executing, because as far as notebook is concerned, in my case already I have installed. So that's the reason it's showing like you cannot install it. Let's say I want to install Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so yes, in my case Jupyter Notebook is already installed, but you can run the same command, sudo apt install Jupyter Notebook. So it will help us once it is done. Next it's time to configure. So to configure we need to generate the configure file. How we can do this? Run Jupyter, next Jupyter, next Jupyter Notebook. I feel, let me Jupyter Notebook. Yes, Jupyter Notebook. Since I have installed Jupyter Notebook, hyphen generate. Okay, configuration file we need to generate here. Config type. Okay, done. So it will generate the config file, and you can see I was using this, I was executing. That's the reason it is asking me to override, but in your case it will display this exact location where your Jupyter config file exists. So yes, I want to overwrite. So I have overwritten. So you are going to get this location where your configuration file is available. Apart from this, we need to generate a password also. Okay, so let's try to generate a password. Jupyter Notebook. Okay, Jupyter Notebook. Let's say password. Enter it. So it is asking me to assign the password. I have assigned the password. Okay, done. So password is stored inside this particular location. Okay, config.json file. Perfect. After this, we need to bind. Okay, we need to bind the IP addresses. So after binding an IP addresses, along with binding an IP addresses, I will set assign the even the root access also. How we can do this one? So again, let me run the command called Jupyter Notebook and --IP for binding. I'll use this universal the IP address, that is 000, and without no browser. Okay, without browser in the backend it should run. Okay, browser. Next I want to allow even the root access also. Root allow root. Perfect. Now run this one. Run this. Now you can see in the backend the Jupyter Notebook is running now. Okay, so now how to access this? To access this, go to your Jupyter Notebook. Here maybe yes, Jupyter. Next go to instances, the instance which is running. So developer. Now here in developer, yes, in developer, copy the IP address. Go to details, copy this IP address. Now go to browser, paste that IP address. Next, since you know the port number I'm using, so 8888 port number, type it, enter it. Now for the continuous side, continue to this side, and you can see I'm able to successfully able to run the Jupyter Notebook. Share them, give the admin password. Next, to close this one, and you can see if you compare this, the cookie cutter template what I have installed, the same file is also available inside my Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so Jupyter Notebook, where is my Jupyter Notebook? Come on, inside my Jupyter Notebook. Fair enough. So whatever the explanatory data analysis are there, you can perform from here. Once after successful completion, don't run the machine learning model here itself. Just try to save it, save that file either in the extension with .csv or JSON. Later on we can automate using the cookie cutter template. Now next stage, let's try to test this one. I will create one the folder, and whatever the data which is stored in S3 bucket, I'll try to fetch the complete data using I'll try to fetch that one, and I'll try to process using the notebook here. Okay, so let's try to create one folder. Let's say the folder name B, you can see, go to new and create a folder, and you can see notebook. Just now I have created, you can see here unit folder, untitled folder we have. Select this one, rename this one as a source data. Perfect. Rename this one, and let's try to see whether this is affected even my visual code also or not. You can see here, see, have a look. So this is affected even in my data source. Fair enough. So this is it for today's session. In the next session we will try to perform an explanatory data analysis using the Jupyter Notebook. I hope you liked the video. If yes, means please subscribe my channel, and if you want to enroll it for any courses, or if you have any projects, you can approach to Xerxez solution, and we will give you the better solution, or we will execute the entire your project based upon your requirement. Thank you very much. Let's meet in the next session.